Hey everybody, this is Jack Delaney of YourFantasyFootballCoach.com, and for the 2015 fantasy football season, I'll be entering the Scott Fish Bowl. I participated in it last year, and I actually have a writer for my site who hasn't been involved with it. She wasn't in it last year, so kind of wanted to give a little bit of a breakdown of what it was from 2014 for her benefit, and figured I'd just make a video just to review it for anybody entering for 2015. So in 2015, there's 240 players, and I guess you call them divisions or leagues or subdivisions, I don't know. But it was 20 of those, which consisted of 12 teams. Basic scoring rules, it's pretty much like you'll find on a lot of different sites, though. One of the big things about this league, though, is that you can start two quarterbacks. I'm not sure if that's going to be the same kind of guidelines in 2015, but that makes the draft obviously a lot more interesting and places a lot more value on the quarterback position. So in my draft from last year, I decided to go pretty heavy on wide receivers because it is a full point PPR league. And just looking from Dez Bryant to Antonio Brown to Julius Thomas, those guys can average anywhere from 4 to 6 receptions per game, which means you can look at anywhere from 12 to 15 points just from receptions each week, which is really, really good. So that's how I started off my draft. Running backs kind of took off early, so I had Ryan Matthews in the 4th round, which I wasn't really super thrilled with, but if he can stay on the field, he's a good player. Quarterbacks are going quick, like I said, so I took Kaepernick in round 5. Frank Gore was a little bit of a risk, but it was also nice to find him in round 6, so I took him there. Mike Wallace, I thought he would be decent in a PPR league, so I got him. Maurice Jones-Drew is just kind of a boomer bust year for him. He was either going to flunk out or do amazing, I thought, and yeah, he just kind of flunked out. So I followed that with Eli Manning in round 9. So having Kaepernick and Manning as your 2 starting quarterbacks, that's not too bad. And then when we get into the later rounds, took Eric Ebron in round 10. That was a little bit early, especially for a rookie tight end, and that was kind of a big mistake. But I was able to draft Kelvin Benjamin in round 11, which was a steal. And then just kind of looking at my list, I was just kind of looking at guys who were backups who could have a big involvement just depending on what happened around them. So took Christine Michael as a backup to Marshawn Lynch, Bryce Brown, and I thought Charles Sims was going to have a bigger year than he did, but he was obviously injured in the start of the season and wasn't really able to edge Doug Martin out. I took Derek Carr just to add some depth for my quarterbacks, Greg Little, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, who did not really play at all last year, so those were kind of wasted picks. Jericho Cottrey just to back up Kelvin Benjamin. Jonathan Franklin didn't play. Nate Burleson really didn't play. And the real steal I got, though, was Justin Forsett in round 22, which was the last round of the draft. So looking at it, my wide receivers were really good for PPR league, but I ended up pretty weak. I basically had Frank Gore and Justin Forsett as my starting running backs, and if Forsett didn't have the year he did, I would have been really screwed. So I made the playoffs. I went 8-4, but I believe I lost in the 1st or 2nd round. I didn't make it too far. So I wanted to look next at the winning team. The team that won it all was from Ryan McKay of Pro Football Focus, so congratulations to him. And he had absolutely amazing first 3 picks. He took Matt Forte, Arian Foster, and Marshawn Lynch. And that's how you want to do it when you start your draft. His final team consisted of Tony Romo, Mark Sanchez, Matt Forte, Arian Foster, Fred Jackson, Marshawn Lynch, Odell Beckham Jr., Kelvin Benjamin, Mike Wallace, Sammy Watkins, and Travis Kelce. So that wasn't his full final team. That was just who he started in the final weeks of the playoffs. And he ended up, his final roster was Jimmy Clausen, Brian Hoyer, Brock Osweiler, Dan Boom Herron, Chris Ivory, Theo Riddick, Devontae Adams, Harry Douglas, Larry Fitzgerald, and Jason Witten. Now you can add and drop players in this league. So his draft was a little bit different, but his first 3 picks really kind of set the tone for his year, and it's one of the big reasons he was able to take it down. So in a league with 2 quarterbacks and a league that values PPR points a lot, it's kind of interesting to see that 3 running backs kind of help propel his team, even though Matt Forte is a huge pass-catching back. And Arian Foster is as well. Marshawn Lynch adds some value there, but not so much. But I thought this was a pretty interesting roster. And if we go back and look at the lineup that won it all, it's pretty amazing just what he was able to put together. Kelvin Benjamin and Odell Beckham Jr. That's astounding to have those two guys on your team. Travis Kelce was coming on at the end of the year. And he didn't do it with necessarily superpower at the quarterback position with Andrew Luck or Aaron Rodgers. But it looked like he did play a lot of matchups and was really active on the waiver wire when he selected some of the guys that he did, like Brock and Jimmy Clausen when Jay Cutler and Peyton were having their issues. So it's a really interesting team. And there's going to be a lot of different strategies. He obviously elected, from my opinion, to take value. If Marshawn Lynch is available in the third round where he got him, I was looking at the draft results. You're going to grab him there. You're going to be laughing the whole season, and you're able to grab somebody like that there. Arian Foster was a little bit of a risk in the second round, but that obviously paid off. And Matt Forte, was reliable as always. So that's just a basic look at how the 2014 Scott Fish Bowl kind of broke down for the winning team. You saw a little bit of my team there, which made the playoffs, but I didn't make the big push. But yeah, I'm going to start preparing myself for the 2015 Scott Fish Bowl, and I'm looking forward to the competition.